The India-Pakistan War of 1947 to 1948, also known as the First Kashmir War, was an armed conflict between India and Pakistan over the control of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. It began in 1947 and ended in 1948 with the mediation of the United Nations. This was the first of four wars between the newly independent nations, and it became known as the Kashmir conflict. A few weeks after India and Pakistan separated, Pakistan sparked the war by sending tribal militias from Waziristan in an attempt to seize Kashmir. Hari Singh, the Prince of Jammu and Kashmir, faced a rebellion from his Muslim subjects in Punch and lost control of the western parts of his kingdom. On October 22, 1947, Pashtun tribal militias from Pakistan crossed the borders to capture Hari Singh's capital, Srinagar. However, they halted and started looting upon reaching Baramulla. Prince Hari Singh requested help from India. India agreed to assist, but only if he signed the instrument of accession to India. The war was initially fought by the state forces of Jammu and Kashmir and tribal militias from the northwest frontier province. After the state's accession to India on October 26, 1947, Indian troops were airlifted to Srinagar, the state's capital. The British commanding officer initially refused to let Pakistani forces join the conflict, citing the state's accession to India. However, later in 1948, they relented, and soon after, Pakistani armies entered the war. The front lines gradually solidified along what would later be known as the Line of Control. An official ceasefire was declared on January 1, 1949. The result of the war was inconclusive. However, most assessments indicate that India was the victor, as it successfully defended about two-thirds of the former princely state, including the Kashmir Valley, Jammu and Ladakh. The India-Pakistan War of 1965 was the peak of the conflict between India and Pakistan, taking place between April 1965 and September 1965. The conflict began after Pakistan's Operation Gibraltar, which was designed to infiltrate forces into Jammu and Kashmir to incite an insurgency against the Indian rule. India retaliated with a full-scale military assault on West Pakistan. The 17-day war resulted in thousands of casualties on both sides and witnessed the largest engagement of armored vehicles and the biggest tank battle since World War II. After a ceasefire was declared through United Nations Security Council Resolution 211, following diplomatic intervention by the Soviet Union and the United States and the issuance of the Tashkent Declaration, hostilities between the two countries ended. Most of the war was fought by ground forces in Kashmir and along the India-Pakistan border. This war saw the largest troop mobilization in Kashmir since the partition of India in 1947, a number only surpassed during the 2001-2002 military stand-up between India and Pakistan. Most of the battles were conducted by opposing infantry and armed units, with significant support from air forces and naval operations. The root of the issue goes back 72 years when Pakistan became independent from India and Kashmir was divided between the two countries, resulting in Pakistan-administered Kashmir and India-administered Kashmir. This division of Kashmir was unsatisfactory to both sides, and as mentioned earlier, this ongoing dissatisfaction has led to several wars between the two countries. For Pakistanis as well as for Indians, the Kashmir issue became the most important matter, intertwined with the national pride of both nations. Many people believe that the roots of India's independence movement and its fight against British colonialism are solely tied to Mahatma Gandhi, but that's not entirely true. Gandhi was the most prominent figure in India's struggle for independence, known for a strict yet non-violent and popular resistance. He saw the fight for independence as the duty of all Indians because he believed that India belonged to all its people. However, there were other independence activities who adopted a different approach, ignoring Gandhi's ideals and methods and creating their own movements. These individuals believed that India was for Hindus alone, not for all Indians, and that armed struggle was the only way to achieve independence. Perhaps the most notable figure of this later group was Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. It's important to note that this discussion focuses on true Hindu-led movements to pose a question to the current Hindu nationalist government of India. Thus, we are not delving into Muslim groups like the founding fathers of Pakistan, the Muslim League, despite their significant role in India's independence. The people of India rallied around Gandhi and regained independence in 1947. However, the dream of independence was short-lived. In early 1948, Gandhi was assassinated by a group associated with Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. Savarkar himself was arrested, but due to a lack of concrete evidence linking him to the assassination, he was acquitted. Nonetheless, the court of public opinion in India condemned him, and he lived under a cloud of suspicion and coldness from the Indian people until his death in 1963. Another factor contributing to the crisis in Kashmir is the implementation of the One Belt, One Road initiative. This plan, announced by China in 1215, includes a land route that passes through Pakistan-administered Kashmir. This has raised serious concerns in India, and their officials have repeatedly expressed their opposition. According to some experts, India aims to escalate tensions in Kashmir to prevent the implementation of this plan. But why is Kashmir so contentious? Kashmir is a region in the Himalayas that both India and Pakistan claims in its entirety. It was once a princely state. At the time of India's independence, there were around 500 princely states. During the partition of the subcontinent into India and Pakistan, these states had the option to join either country. In 1947, following the end of British rule and the partition, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, whose ruler was Hindu but whose population was predominantly Muslim, ultimately acceded to India by signing a formal agreement. According to the British Agreement of 1947, the Indian subcontinent was divided between the two countries of India and Pakistan, and Kashmir, which was inhabited by Muslims, was decided to be annexed to Pakistan. Some of this agreement was implemented. The Mahara of Kashmir at that time was under Indian control. In a letter to the British authorities, he asked them to enter the Kashmir region, because according to the claims, Pakistani nomads from the Tatan tribes are occupying this area and doing evil. The identity of the leader was not confirmed by the Sheikh Zayed, but some experts believe that there was a conspiracy between India and England to occupy this region under this pretext and to prevent complete annexation of Kashmir to Pakistan. After this incident, a fierce war broke out between India and Pakistan in 1948, and finally the Kashmir crisis was raised in the United Nations. In 1948, this organization published a resolution in which India and Pakistan were asked to hold a referendum among the people of the Kashmir region whether they want to join India or Pakistan. Thanks for watching.